This is my favourite part of the day, watching a spinning wheel go round and round. Tonight, on About Tonight, killing Heidi's Ella Hooper, world boxing champ Susie Q Ramadan, and ABC3 steampunk host Paul Verhoeven, with your host, Tegan Higginbotham.
Good evening and welcome to the premiere of About Tonight, a late night series featuring different hosts every single episode. And guess who you've got up first? My name is Tegan Higginbotham. You might remember me from the television show Breaking Bad, from my Oscar-winning performance on Blue Jasmine, or that time I hacked into IMDb to make myself sound a lot more impressive than I really am. But let's face it, I think I would have nailed playing Walter White in Breaking Bad. Drugs! Is that a quote? I'm sure it is. I am your host this evening. However, before we get stuck into what I'm sure is going to be an amazing show, let's just see what's been happening with this week's news. Muhammad Ali celebrated his birthday over the weekend. However, this was marred by a recent hospital stay where he was battling a severe urinary tract infection. You know what they say, float like a butterfly, stings when you pee. Don't change the channel, okay? You can try changing the channel, but I've stolen your remote, so you're with me for 45 minutes, all right? Let's move on to the next joke, shall we? An 18-year-old woman in the United States has opened up about marrying her father. She says the relationship works and that she feels loved, appreciated, and thanks to him, she always eats her vegetables. No? Okay. Tennis Australia has announced a partnership with Disney going into the 2015 Australian Open. And given Disney's relationship with Star Wars, fans can finally look forward to matches being played with lightsabers, which is awesome, right? Remember that time the Emperor said, "You shall serve the dark side"? Well, now we know what he was talking about, you know? Good, good, 30 love, A. The Emperor doesn't go A at the end of things, but never mind. Finally, the rumour mill is on fire with talk that a new Sex and the City series could be in the works. However, with some of the lead actresses nearing 60, producers are considering changing the title. Options include Naps in the City, Complaining about Rap Music in the City, or What's an Internet? And instead of featuring actual sex scenes, the series will mostly just comprise of young men being offered Werther's originals. I quite liked that one. They asked me if I wanted a laugh track through all of these, and I said no, just showing that I don't make very good decisions. Look, I am very, very excited about the show we have lined up for you tonight, and I'm not going to lie, when I was told that I had 45 minutes of airtime that I could do anything with, I seriously considered spending a lot of that reenacting Harry Potter to the best of my ability, using pipe cleaners and this sponge I found on the floor. And although you're thinking, Tegan, that would be impossible, you must keep in mind that if we're talking about Daniel Radcliffe's performances in the last 2 films in the series, I actually think the sponge would have done better. You're a wizard, Harry. I'm a what? The sponge did better, just then. Absolutely nailed it. But I decided to do much better than that, so tonight it's my absolute pleasure to announce that I'm going to be chatting with one of this country's best artists, one of this country's best athletes, and talking about a whole lot of interesting stuff, from the impact that Instagram culture has on our self-esteem, to politics and how the hell I'm meant to give a shit about it when everything seems, quite frankly, so horribly messed up. But first, you might know him as the host of ABC3's Steampunks, as a senior contributor for The Vine or a presenter on Triple J, or you might have seen him on The Project or SmackDown, or one of the many other projects that he's been on. Please welcome Mr. Paul Verhoeven.
Hey!
Hello, Paul.
Hello.
That's how you shake hands when you meet a guest. In post, it looks like a real handshake.
They CG the hands in later. It's very fancy.
Grab a seat, Paul.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the invite. Thanks for the very specific dress code. It said, dress like somebody who's so rich they crash yachts into each other just to feel something.
You absolutely nailed it. Thank you so much.
Pocket square.
Now, Paul, I brought you in today because you are a filthy, stinking nerd. Is that correct?
That is correct, but can you answer me this? Can you please name Harry Potter's parents?
James and Lily Potter.
There we go. That's the pot calling the kettle black.
All right.
Also, I see you got Daniel Radcliffe in.
I do. Isn't he fantastic?
Amazing. Hollywood's most absorbent performer. So.
Now, I have actually been out of the loop with nerd stuffs for a little while. Can you give me a bit of an update on what's happening this year, what the big stories are?
Yeah, absolutely. There's some really big nerd stories happening. I'll start low-key for you. Now, in 1966, there was a factory run by a company called Topps, and they were given the job of creating a run of really beautiful Batman trading cards. Okay. Now, one quiet afternoon, a couple of the employees took the assembly line and decided to create a one-off joke card.
Right.
On that card, it said Batman on his bat throne, and it had a picture of Batman doing, what would you suggest? based on the title.
Well, he's on his bath throne. He's obviously sitting on a very prestigious chair.
He's taking a shit.
Right.
Batman taking a shit. Now, the problem with this is, of course, they only made one, and when you only make one of something, it becomes incredibly valuable. So how much do you think this would go for in auction?
A card of Batman taking a dump on the toilet.
Uh-huh.
Oh, gee, I'd pay tens and tens of dollars for that.
Very good. It's going for $3,500.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding. Now, here's the problem. Bats don't do shits, they do guano. Bat poo is called guano. So my question is Batman taking a shit? Is he taking a guano? Or is he, as I suspect, shitting justice?
I'm really glad that we kicked off the show with some incredibly classy content.
Yeah, highbrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Highbrow.
Okay, wonderful. What else have you got for me?
Okay, are you a fan of the X-Files?
Yes, I'm a fan of the X-Files.
Your pupils just dilated.
Yeah, I actually sit at home regularly. There are YouTube clips where they've just compiled all the times that Dana Scully and Fox Mulder kiss, and I just watch them. I just sit there alone watching them.
Now that's the video. I've played my nerd card too close to my chest, but that's the video where they play Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith.
Yes, they do.
It's very beautiful.
It's very beautiful.
Terrible fonts, though. Anyway, so Gillian Anderson was being interviewed on a podcast called Nerdist very recently, and she was asked whether she knew that the X-Files might be getting brought back by Fox, and her reaction was, "That would be fucking spectacular." That's a direct quote. So I did a little research, and it turns out that Fox are indeed considering commissioning a 10th season of the show.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding, provided the actors can free their schedules up, because they're all very busy, obviously.
But you'd free your schedule up for X-Files, surely.
Well, you would, because you want to be in the X-Files.
I want to be in the X-Files.
Yeah.
I would be a monster to be in the X-Files. Like, I would be another water sort of slug thing if I could get this close to David Duchovny. I'd do it.
You know, I've heard about David Duchovny's sexual habits, and I think if you were within a kilometre, you could bang him. Yes. Yeah. He's like a sexual black hole. He draws in matter and... Anyway, it doesn't matter. I do have one final piece of nerd news for you.
Go for it.
How familiar are you with the gaming scene?
I am very good at Mario Karts.
I would say that qualifies you for hearing about
this. I
this.
do good Tetris.
Yeah, really?
Yes, I do, actually.
All right. Well, last year was a very bad year for gaming.
Yes.
Very, very bad year. Gamergate was obviously a massive scandal.
Yeah, now this actually must have been quite big, because I am not a gamer and I know about Gamergate. And it sounded quite horrific, to be honest.
Well, it was horrible, because, I mean, gaming journalists and game developers, female, were given death threats, chased out of their homes, massive petitions to get them fired. Yeah. Basically, it was a campaign masquerading as, you know, a call for reform in video game ethics and journalism. But what it actually was just the ugliest side of misogyny coming out of the gaming industry.
Right.
The gaming industry.
The gaming industry. Now, you think that's going to stop this year? Because social media doesn't strike me as something that's gotten friendly all of a sudden.
Yeah, they're not real nice, are they?
They're not really nice.
Especially if you, like me, and I assume you want Taylor Swift to win the Hottest 100. No? No comment?
No.
Okay, anyway. Now, there was a game banned a couple of days ago in Australia called Hotline Miami 2.
Yep.
It's a top-down, very pixely, very old-fashioned graphics game, but there is a scene in it in which a pixelated man crawls on top of an unconscious pixelated woman and commits implied aggressive sexual acts. Now, before that scene, it says this scene contains aggressive sexual acts. Do you want to see it, or do you want to cut that content out?
Yeah.
But it's raised this massive spectre of, like, are we allowed to censor art? What is art? Are video games art? Should we, you know, ban this game? And yeah, that's not. I mean, that's not a good way to start 2015.
No, it's not a good way to start 2015, and I think that because the banning of games, there is always that argument that you can't censor art. But I think the difference with a movie that would feature something like that, for example, is you can't actively play that part and you can't actively make those decisions. But it's a very tricky world, the gaming world. And you think that, though, in the horizon we have better things to look forward to?
I think we do, because there are actually these wonderful games being released that are actually quite progressive. One of the biggest games of 2014, which came out right near Christmas, is called Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yep.
Now, one of the fun things about this series, and by fun I might mean pathetic, is that you can pursue really in-depth relationships with various characters that end in catastrophic amounts of sex, right? Now, in this game...
What is it with gaming these days?
Hey, everyone likes catastrophic amounts of sex.
Okay.
This game gives you the option of not just hooking up with straight characters, it gives you 2 straight characters, 2 gay characters, 2 bisexual characters, and a couple of really complicated ones who only have sex with specific races. Now, while that might seem a bit trite, it does mean that there's going to be kids growing up playing these video games going, oh, like my inclination is not being discriminated against in this game, and they've got positive role models, and I think that's really good.
That is really good.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear that there are some good, exciting things coming up, and this year is, of course, the year where we get Star Wars, so that's pretty exciting. You happy about that, Harry Potter? Yes, I am. See? A better performance right there, just like that. Now, Paul, we are going to head to a break, but can you stick around for the rest of the show? Yeah,
now I'm being demoted to like a sub guest.
You have to move to that chair.
So I have to move across to this chair.
Yeah,
okay,
the inferior chair.
Great, I'll do that in a second.
But we are going to head out to a break now, so in the meantime, Paul and I are going to sit here and chat animatedly as if we're having a really good conversation, and you guys stick around. Welcome back. Now, I am so excited to introduce my next guest for this evening. I've been a big fan of hers since she was 13, when she became famous, or should I say infamous, for killing a woman called Heidi. The police are yet to find the body. Where's the body? No, wait, I'm mistaken. Killing Heidi was an ARIA award-winning band. Since then, our guest has gone on to be a team captain on Spicks and Specs, a regular fixture on Australian radio, and she has just released her new solo album, In Tongues. It's such an amazing album. I'm so excited right now. Please welcome Ella Hooper. Hi.
Tegan.
Thank you.
No, I'm like the elbow.
It's so good. Welcome. Thank you.
Hey. Oh, these mics are really sharp.
No,
Thank you so much for coming in.
For having me. It's great here.
Especially because you've just had an epic weekend.
I have. I'm fresh off the train from the countryside yoga retreat, and before that recording my new album.
The new album?
The new.
Okay, so we'll go firstly just the single new album, In Tongues.
Yeah, that's right.
It's very exciting. So that was released last November.
Yes.
I absolutely love it.
I saw you at the launch.
I was at the launch.
Yeah.
I felt really fancy. It's like, I'm at a CD. No, not a CD launch, but I'm in the 90s.
Hey, I'm still living in the 90s too. Let's keep it there.
Launch. Yeah. It is such an amazing album, and it's so varied. It jumps all over the place. There's a lot of rock in there, the stuff that kind of sounds like old you, and then there's a lot of new fancy stuff in there. Yeah,
I definitely wanted to sort of explore new areas musically and push myself into new sort of sonic landscapes, and it took me a really, really long time to sort of find a new sound and find new collaborators, and I scrapped it a number of times. It was really, I felt a lot of pressure, which was probably mainly in my own head, but I've never done a solo record before. Yeah. And I made a point of not working with anyone I had worked with before, so I wanted to sort of take away all my old comfortable things and just throw myself in the deep end, and eventually got there, and I'm really happy with it. That's big though, because I've heard that the album took a little while to come together. I didn't realise that you'd scrapped other stuff. I remember the Sister Sisters did that for their latest album, I think. Really? And when I read that, I was just like, you've scrapped. And how was that terrifying? Yeah, you feel like a maniac. You feel like you've lost your mind. Like, what am I doing? And also, I have these conversations with my manager, which I wish I could tape them and watch them back later, where he just goes, ugh. He puts his head in his hands and just goes, sure thing, whatever you want. Let's start again, or let's. You know that song that really sounds like a hit? Well, it's just too much like a hit. Let's get rid of that one, Been there, done that, and he just goes, ugh. You are such an artist. Yeah, oh boy. There's a lot of comedians in Melbourne probably feeling very the same at the moment, because we're moving towards Comedy Festival, and it's that similar. Like, I can only kind of think back to those things where you scrap a whole bit, and then you're like, what am I doing? But I know it works, but I need to move on. Oh, we're so tortured. We do it to ourselves. We suck. But the new album, where's it at the moment? It's feeling amazing. Like, as you know, I did the launch, and it was really great. I'm getting vinyl made too, which is again a first for me. I've never had my music committed to wax before. Nice. So I feel like I'm sort of becoming a proper adult, proper musician when I get my vinyl back in the mail in about a month's time, and I'm doing a little bit of touring in New South Wales in February. Yep. And I'm just out there. I'm getting some play on Double J, which is the fantastic digital station. So if you tune in there, you can hear the singles and you can hear the stuff off In Tongues that's getting played there, and it just feels so good. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulder, and I'm already working on the next one. Yeah, which is, it's keep the momentum, exactly. I guess
It's all about that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Now, you also mentioned before we got started that you really wanted to talk about Star Wars, and I'm really happy to do that. Paul, are you happy to do that?
I'm more than happy.
Well, I just want you guys to tell me stuff basically because I'm so excited, but I'm definitely a part-time nerd. I don't claim full nerd status, but I definitely am a fan. I kind of flit around the fringes. I'm a fringe nerd.
Yeah, I've got my things, like Harry Potter is my main nerd thing, my main nerd avenue, but Star Wars is just, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. And my brother and I, it was one of our things growing up, we actually reenacted. Talk about that Harry Potter reenacting. We could do you like all of Star Wars basically, and of course I'm Leia and he would be Luke and then Han, and you know we'd make our dog a Wookiee and all of that stuff. And
so the bad thing was for me, my sister, it was Phantom Menace, which is the bad one. But we could
who's Jar Jar Binks, like your worst friend, the kid that you don't actually like. You're Jar Jar.
You're Jar Jar.
I'm the one Jar Jar.
Yeah, exactly. You're Jar Jar.
Oh, now you're Jar Jar.
Damn it.
My thing, and Paul, you might actually be able to help me out with this. My fear with the new Star, was your favourite character Han?
I don't know actually. I think I was a bit of a, well, I do love Han, but I really couldn't even pick a favourite. They're just, when I think about them, actually no, what am I saying? Ewoks. I was mad for Ewoks.
And then there's that one where the one dies and
just anything. Oh my God, that Forest Moon of Endor, just all of it.
Well, my favourite character was Han, and there is a rumour that he's getting a lot of weight that he's going to in the next film.
Oh, that's heavy.
It's really heavy.
That could be traumatic. But that was the old Star Wars. Things happened. People died. Like, it wasn't all just, CGI crap. It was a great, morality tale, dark, light, violence.
Yeah, it's basically a space opera, right?
Yeah. I want Shakespeare in space.
Yeah, you're going to get it, hopefully.
Good.
Because a lot of the stuff coming out of the set has shown that he's using real animatronics and real puppets and no blue screen.
Bigatures and miniatures. I love that. Learnt that from Lord of the Rings.
That's really good stuff. Now, your first reaction on seeing the teaser trailer, what did you think about the lightsaber?
Haven't even seen it.
You haven't seen the trailer?
Even seen it. I've been so busy. I want you guys to tell me. Like, it's looking good. What's with the lightsaber?
Oh, no.
It's a little cross. Like, it goes... Like it's...
You know how swords have hilts? You know how swords have like a guard to stop your hand getting sliced off?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy pulls out a lightsaber
smart.
and a little thing goes across. And
are we getting medieval? Because that's my other nerd thing is like, I love it.
I want Jedis in armor. I want Jedis in like black armor with, I
want advanced D&D in space. Yes.
Right. I'm just thinking, when is the new album going to come out? Because we could just throw some Star Wars themes in there, get it out at the same time. This could work.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, Tegan, but there was a song called Dead Star on the last album, or Dead Stars, and my brother would always sing Death Star. Like, you are the light from a Death Star. I was like, don't think the Death Star actually shoots a light.
And when it does, it's not a good thing?
It will kill you.
Yes.
It will blow up your planet, your home planet.
Oh, wow, relationships.
So the new one, not yet. Yeah, relationships. That was the last relationship. Hopefully this new record, it's literally the new record. Well, this is an exclusive. I'll give you the scoop. It's going to be 2 records. One called Venom, just to have my final word on the last relationship, and then one called New Magic, where I force myself to get positive again, and I force myself to look into a bright new day, hopefully.
Are you one of those people, because I find when I'm in a bad mood or if I'm dealing with something like a breakup, I fall to pieces and my creativity falls to pieces, but are you one of these fortunate people who thrive in the...
Yeah, or unfortunate, because I seem to create a whole lot of crap to go through for myself. Yeah, no, I'm very prolific when I'm upset, and so hopefully New Magic is going to change that too. I'm going to be prolific and happy. That's my mantra for 2015.
Fantastic. And if people want to catch up and get in tongues, where can they do that?
They can get it online. They can get it at the good old iTunes store, and they can also buy it from my gigs. So jump online and follow me on social media, and I'll tell you where I'm gigging, and I will sell you a CD or a vinyl, and I can sign that for you and all of that good stuff.
Where is the next gig?
There's 3 in a row up in New South Wales at the Lizottes venues, and they're so beautiful. They're like dinner and a show, dimly lit, good for a date if you're planning on doing some macking on someone. I'm sort of going to strip that back and not take the rock band. I'm going to take my quiet band and try and make it really sad and intimate. And
you've got different bands to pull from.
I do, because sometimes, sometimes when I'm flying to smaller venues, I just want to take 2 musicians with me, and other times I want to take the whole rock band. So this one's going to be more intimate.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming. I really just want to keep talking to you about Star Wars, but we've got to keep moving. Thank you so much for coming on, and people should go and check out Ella's gigs and buy all of her music because it's such good music. Can't wait to hear the new album.
May the force be with you, Tegan.
May the force be with you. We'll be right back. Good evening, welcome back to the show. Now our next guest this evening made history recently by becoming the first Australian female to win both the International Boxing Federation's Bantamweight World title and the WBC World Bantamweight title. Her record is absolutely outstanding, having only lost 2 out of 25 fights in her highly celebrated career. Please welcome Susie Q. Ramadan. Hello, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Please take a seat. Now, I am such a big fan of yours. I've been such a big fan since, I don't know if you know this about me, but I've dabbled in the world of boxing. And when I first started, I went looking for female boxers, and I found you. What made you get into boxing?
It's been a crazy world. A lot of things, really. I think, you know, the training of it all, the discipline, the hardship, and you know, I've always been the type that anything that was easy would be boring. So, you know, and the mental challenge of it all. So, it keeps me fit, and you know, so I've just been lucky to have succeeded so much.
You've done incredibly well, and you are at the moment. It's kind of a bit of a break for you at the moment to figure out where your next fight is. Is that right?
Not so much a break, but yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, through Christmas and stuff like that, we have a couple of weeks off, and now I'm back in training, and now it's just a matter of negotiating and you know, trying to get the next bout to happen soon. So
yeah, now the next bout, as I mentioned before, so you've had 25 fights, you've only lost 2, and both of those losses, I'm so fascinated by this whole story. They were both against the same woman, Yasmin Rivas, she's Mexican, is that right?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
So that's the next fight that you're trying to line up?
I would love to get another rematch with her, third rematch. Obviously, as you know, like a couple of the twice that I fought her, there has been controversial decisions. So, but with the last fight, I think I was off for 2 years, so coming back, and I must say I'm happy with my performance.
Yeah.
You know, it could have gone either way, but you know, wasn't lucky on the night, but I was still happy with you know, the performance, and let's just hope that we can get another one.
Yeah, well, I've watched the fight. It is all up on YouTube if anybody wants to watch it. It is incredibly close, and when you take into account that you've gone into a different time zone where there is all those altitude difficulties, not to mention the fact that there were some controversies around equipment and all that sort of stuff, the fact that you got so close, like it's interesting. If it were in Australia, I would have been very interested to see how the fight would have gone.
Yeah, it would have been completely different. I mean, look, you've got a lot of disadvantages when you go to someone else's hometown, especially on the other side of the world. You know, the heat, the time zone, the altitude, and I was lucky enough to have Rod Tadaro from Altitude Services who installed an altitude tent in my house, so I was sleeping in there for several weeks.
Now, he installed the tent in your house, like the whole house, like it got bubbled in?
No, I had to get my bed away out of the bedroom and install that in there, and that was my bed for up until the fight. So
how long did you sleep in the altitude tent for?
When you do the altitude training, you have a certain amount of time of like 6 weeks before it actually kicks in. So yeah, it felt a lot longer. But look, at the end of the day, like it really did work, and it made a difference, because I know that, you know, the last time I fought, they didn't do the altitude training, and yeah, it sure does make a difference.
Yeah, I bet. And you mentioned before that there was a 2-year break in between those fights. Were you considering not coming back? What was the break for?
I must say that out of my whole career had been the most challenging, just because I wasn't actually on break. I would be training, getting ready for a fight, and then, you know, it would fall through due to promotional reasons, or the opponent would pull out and things like that. So I was constantly preparing for a fight. So we had about 6 fights that fell through.
Are you kidding me?
And yeah, and mentally it can be very hard to sort of stabilise yourself and continue to work so hard.
Yeah.
But I've managed to, you know, keep myself balanced out in a way where, you know, I didn't want to just give up because fights are falling through. I want to keep going and trying to achieve as much as I can. So I wasn't going to let that get to me.
Now, is it hard? I mean, you're having fights falling through and stuff like that. Is it hard to carve out a career in Australia as not only a female athlete, but you're also a female Muslim athlete? Like, That's a big thing, I feel. Have you had to break certain stereotypes to make all this work?
Yeah, sure I did. Look, there are still stereotypes, out there, but especially being a female in a male-dominant sport, as well as the cultural background. So you can imagine people were pretty shocked at first, especially being a female and getting into a sport like that. But it's been good because a lot of people have turned around and said, well, this girl's doing something good for herself, and it's all good for the community, and inspiring a lot of women and stuff like that. So it's changed a lot of people's minds, which is good. Yeah, and I'd like to keep doing that.
And is the industry, is the world of sport for females in Australia, do you see it changing? It's got a fair way to go, I'm sure, but are you seeing changes at the least?
I think I have, due to the amateur boxing being accepted in the Olympics. So ever since that happened, look, boxing in Australia is hard as it is, let alone being a female in any sport. It's harder, but as boxing. But I do see some improvements slowly, and I believe it will eventually, get better for them. Yeah. Maybe when I've retired.
Yeah, that's the luck, isn't it? Now it's all working perfectly. I bet. Just a few. Now, this is just some obvious questions that I'm sure you get asked all the time, but people will no doubt be fascinated. Number one, does it hurt? Does boxing and getting punched in the face hurt?
I think the first time you get hit, it probably does. But you sort of you adjust to it, I guess. Your body gets. I think the most painful part about boxing is actually the training, the grueling training of it all. It's just every day, and training twice a day before preparing for a fight. I think that's the hardest, because you get in the morning, your whole body's sore. And,
and I follow you on Instagram. You do crazy things. Like, it's not only just, you're not only in the ring, it's a lot of weight training. There's a lot of aerobic sort of stuff in there as well. Is there something that you dislike the most? Or?
I would say I don't think I dislike anything. I love everything about it. I think with my trainer Lim Jecker, the one-on-one training we do, sometimes he's a perfectionist, so sometimes it can be a bit. I have my days where it's like I feel like just saying, okay, can you just take it easy on me today? But, I mean, it's hard work, but I love it. So look, I do. With him, it's just boxing, and then I have a strictly conditioning trainer as well that does a lot of different things. But I like to spice it up. Okay. So
the other big question that when I boxed, my biggest fear was of having my nose broken. Like, I'd have dreams about it. I was so petrified. Has it happened to you? Have you had your nose broken?
You know what, surprisingly no, and it's not that hard to miss, actually. I mean, I don't have the smallest nose in the world, so, but I've been lucky, I guess. I'm a good mover, so.
Great. Well, let's hope that it just stays that way.
On wood.
Absolutely. Now, if people want to follow you and follow your career, where is the best way that they can stay in contact with you?
I have my website, www.susieqramadan.com.au, and my Facebook fan page, Instagram. I mean, social media, you can't go wrong. So.
Can't go wrong with social media. Beautiful. So everybody should hop online and definitely follow Susie. I'm so excited to see if this rematch happens. I really hope it does, and I hope you win, absolutely. Stick with us, though. After the break, I'm going to be getting political, having a proper adult political conversation, so don't go anywhere. Hi, welcome back to About Tonight. I hope you've been having fun so far. It's been going well, I think. I've been speaking to Susie and Ella. Paul has apparated back on set. Hey, Paul. Hey. Thanks for showing up on set again. Did I manage to keep it together with Susie and Ella?
You did really well, actually.
Did I? Because I was just so excited that they were here, and I was like, oh my God.
But you didn't provide a chair for me to sit on off camera, so I had to hang from the rafters like a creepy monkey person. So.
But you stayed quiet. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
Now, we are going to get down to talking about some politics at the moment. Ooh, adult conversations, serious things. Yes, we are. And I have a really special guest who's going to help me out with that conversation this evening. He is the Vice President of the Young Liberals in Victoria. Can you please welcome Mr. Max Williams? Yay! Yay. There's no audience in here. There's no round of applause when you come out. But at home,
it's good to see you.
Good to see you. Please grab a seat. At home, they're like, yay!
Good to meet you.
Max, Paul, Max. Now, Max, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Pleasure.
Before we kick off things and get into the really tough political conversation, I just wanted to ask a couple of quick, easy warm-up sort of questions.
Sure.
First of all, through my stalking of you, I found out that you do or don't barrack for Carlton Football Club.
That's true. You have done your homework.
I have done my homework. And that was a correct answer. Correct, you do indeed. Go Blues. Thank you.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, definitely. Second thing, have you, and are you obsessed, like have you watched The West Wing and are you obsessed with it?
I haven't watched The West Wing, actually. Believe it or not. Look, a lot of my friends have, but I haven't.
Are you not tempted to just, because it's your world, like...
I don't know. Maybe I'm just too busy living the dream or something.
Yes.
But,
You're out there.
Yeah. No. Look, I love a good political drama. You know, House of Cards is fantastic, and the original British one is just as great. You know, if you want a satire, you know, The Thick of It is fantastic. It's easily the best stuff since, you know, Yes Minister.
Great.
So yeah.
After this, we can do a lot about this of House of Cards. It is so good.
Yeah.
And it's actually really interesting point, because you've got The West Wing where all the politics is like, hey, politics, let's change the world. And then you've got House of Cards where it's really terrifying and you're like, oh my God, politicians. I guess one of the reasons I wanted to bring you in to chat with us today, firstly because you would know a lot more about politics than I do, and it's that I'm wondering whether politics is a little bit scary House of Cards-ish, you know what I mean? I don't know if you pick up on this, but around my age, a lot of people, I feel like there's not a lot of faith in politics anymore. It's really hard to get to the bottom of stories and all that sort of stuff. And I kind of want to know from somebody's opinion who's in it, how are politics going in Australia at the moment? Are we good? Are we okay?
Look, I reckon all in all, we've got it quite all right.
Okay.
I think it's quite normal for people to feel disenfranchised with politicians. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a time where people didn't. Where there weren't people who, you know, who felt that they weren't quite inspired by, you know, the choices they had to vote for. I mean, you know, you look at Sir Les Patterson. You know, Barry Humphries created that character back in the 70s, and I think that was definitely a satirical look at the kind of diplomatic and political, you know, classes in Australia. So, but look, I think all in all we have it very good. We have open and democratic elections. We're one of the most democratic countries in the world.
Yep.
When an election happens and the result is known, people generally accept it and move on.
Yep.
We don't have to worry about things like rioting or violence or claims of vote rigging. And, you know, so all in all, I think we have it a lot better than many.
Okay, those are all incredibly valid points. You're right, we are really fortunate in that regard. Do you think that do you think things like social media, where people now all do have this voice and their opinion is just out there like that, has that made politics perhaps seem a little more dire, or you know, is social media something that you guys love or you hate?
Look, I think it's just something that you're going to have to accept if you go into politics.
Yeah.
It's not going to die out anytime soon. And look, I think all in all it's very good. It just means that politicians are more, you know, under the microscope for everything they say or do, and whether it's a tweet or a Facebook post. And look, I think it can only be a good thing for democracy.
Yeah.
But look, we shouldn't be afraid of it. I'm not afraid of social media. I embrace it. I enjoy it.
Yep.
And it's a good way to, you know, put yourself out there.
Just on that, you mentioned how politicians, how every part of their lives are now under the microscope. There's a lot of conversations about celebrities as well, whether that's fair, that we do just focus so much on people. Do you think that if you're a politician, every aspect of your life should come under that sort of public radar, or can they have off times, you know?
Yeah. Look, I think definitely they should be able to have off times. I think everyone should be able to have that.
Yeah.
But, you know, look, if people who go into, you know, these kinds of, you know, professions, they're putting themselves out there, and they have to, you know, take the bad with some of the good, really.
Is this the road that you hope to take?
Well, look, I imagine politics will be a part of my life, you know, one way or the other, always. So, you know, look, the world's my oyster, and it's something that I get a lot of enjoyment out of. So some of the best friends that I've made are the ones that I've made in politics.
Right. What was that initial impulse for you? Was it something that you just kind of fell into, or you saw something and went, I want to be a part of changing that and making a difference?
Yeah.
How did it start?
Yeah, I definitely the last bit. I mean, I got involved. The first election I ever got involved in, I decided to go and, you know, campaign for my local Liberal candidate.
Yeah.
That was the 2007 election. You know, John Howard lost office, and so it wasn't the result that I was hoping for. But
no
obviously,
on that one.
Yeah, but of course, a lot of people were happy with it, and look, but you just keep rolling with it. And we came back into government 2 elections later, and you know, I think we're doing well now. But so I got involved really because of, I think politics to me is about ideology. It's about a commitment to ideas, and it's about that, you know, contest of principles and ideas. And look, that's what really draws me to it.
Okay, and if somebody wanted to get involved with politics, where do they start? What do they do? Well,
first thing is to think about what it is that you believe in, what are your values, and from there, you know, choose a party that you want to join.
Yep.
So for me, I very much believe in, you know, the liberal principles of, you know, individual liberty, you know, free markets, smaller government.
Yep.
So naturally, the Liberal Party was always a choice for me. Look, if you're someone who thinks a bit differently, then, you know, there's the Labor Party, there's the Greens, or, you know, always just, think about what it is that you believe in. Go and join a political party, go to branch meetings, network with more people. You know, for young people like me, you know, I got a lot out of being in the Young Liberals.
Yep.
And it's something that can be very rewarding.
Well, Max, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was lovely chatting with you. And I do actually feel a little bit more like, it's positive. That's good. That's really lovely to chat to you.
Well, I've done my job then.
Yeah, you've absolutely done your job. So Max Williams, everybody, where can people follow you if they want to get in touch with you?
Look, you can find me on Twitter, you know, Max Williams 89. Or, you know, you could probably try Facebook stalking me.
Beautiful. It's what we all do, isn't it?
Of course.
Stick around. After the break, we're going to be chatting about Instagram and how that can have a really negative effect on our self-esteem. You're watching About Tonight. Good evening. I am Tegan Higginbotham. You are watching About Tonight. Now, it's a widely known fact that Facebook can lead to feelings of loneliness and leave us resenting our friends or asking, is everyone else having a funner, happier life than I am? However, Facebook isn't the biggest culprit on the social media scene. Oh no. Some experts are now questioning how damaging Instagram is to our self-esteem. And by turning us all into semi-stalkers or professional narcissists, is Instagram ruining our own perception of our own lives? The answer, according to all the hard-hitting research I did on Google, is yes. Yes, it really is. But what are you going to do? Get off social media? Fat fucking chance. It will never happen. We are never going to get off social media. So instead, I'm just going to remind us of a couple of little things that deep down we all know, but that maybe sometimes we might forget. Happy fact number 1. Pictures on Instagram are edited. Okay, we all know it, but we forget it. And the more followers someone has, the more edited their images probably are. And you know what? That's just fine. But remember, unless somebody has woken up, smothered themselves in oranges before they've gone to bed, nobody wakes up Valencia, okay? Maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Photoshop. And if your life doesn't look as good on everyone's on Instagrams, that's fine. That's actually normal, okay? Second happy fact that we need to all remember, okay? It's totally okay if you want to photograph your food from above just to show everyone how paleo or gluten-free or, oh my God, naughty your lunch is. That's totally okay if you want to photograph that, okay? It's totally okay if you want to arrange all the things that you're going to be carrying in your Chanel purse out onto your perfectly crisp white bedspread that doesn't seem to have any chocolate or underwear on it and photograph that. That's okay. It's okay if you want to stand in front of a mirror in a bikini and you guessed it, photograph it. That's fine. But just remember, you're the weird one, okay? You're doing the weird thing, all right? As long as you remember that, that's fine. And finally, my happy fact number 3, thigh gap isn't a thing. It's not a thing, okay? Now, to help me illustrate what I'm talking about, I've welcomed back Paul Verhoeven. Well, I say welcome back, you didn't really leave.
No, I sort of just disappeared and reappeared occasionally, much like the wizards that we are so fond of.
Thank you for sticking around for the whole show. Now, Paul, you know what I'm talking about with the Instagram thing, don't you?
Oh God, yeah. Because I mean, we all look at the Instagrams, and we've actually culled some images from Instagram to show people what these, to show them the grim reality of what these photos actually are.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So
image number 1.
Image number 1 is a picture of Beyonce playing some golf in her underwear.
Now we all love Beyonce.
But that thigh gap that's not swinging with me.
That is so not real.
It's like, and also I don't want a frictionless corridor through which to You know.
What was that about the friction on the Beyoncés?
Doesn't matter.
Now, that was actually a really contentious photo. People actually spoke about how obviously photoshopped her thighs were.
Yeah.
Do you have the after photo that I'm so desperately craving?
We do, yes. Here is a photo of Beyonce's actual thigh gap. There is none, and that's fine.
Look at those thighs.
They're
That's some
fantastic.
great thighs.
They're amazing.
I would happily have those thighs wrapped around me. Let's move on.
Please do.
Okay.
Okay, next up we have a photo of Kim Kardashian, atrocious actual garbage person.
Hey now, we're not going to say that.
No, I think that's accurate. But next to her, there's a weird blur. Can you see that?
You know, I was fascinated by this photo when I saw it. Absolutely fascinated because she's actually cropped out her baby child. She has cropped out her child from the image. Then again, I mean, I don't think that's a great thing to do on Instagram, but I think in this case there was a really good reason that she
pretty good
cropped out
reason
the
to
baby.
crop out the West Boy Prince.
Okay.
And here it is.
Ah!
Yeah.
That is a terrifying thing. See, we can all understand why that was silly.
That was very silly.
That's a silly, silly joke.
Hey, while we're talking about Instagrams of, you know, famous celebrities, which is what a celebrity is, that's a contradiction in terms. Here's a photo that Madonna posted to her Instagram very recently.
Yes. Now, Madonna is very big on the making of herself look much younger than she... I mean, look at this photo. Her skin is absolutely perfect. There's not a line. She looks like she's 30 or something. She's got that the sexy thumb thing happening there. Now, I believe you've actually managed to find the shot of this photo before all the edits happened to it.
It's quite hard to do because she doesn't actually let these images get out, but we did manage to track down the original unphotoshopped image from her Instagram, and here it is. Now, as you can see, she does look a little different. Her hair is, I would say, still just as good, but there are some wrinkles around her snout.
Yeah, that's the thing. You see, they didn't need to Photoshop them out. But we got to remember, though, regardless of editing, Madonna is a very good boy.
Yes, a good boy.
Good boy, Madonna.
Madonna deserves a treat.
Now, look, unfortunately, on that incredibly mature note, we are going to wrap up the show this evening. I know, it's so sad. There were highs, there were lows. We spoke about politics, it was great. But do tune in tomorrow night at 10:30. There's a whole new episode of About Tonight, and we even get a whole new host, Mr. Stuart Daulman. Stuart, head out on here.
Hey,
on here, head out. Take us
okay.
I left you hanging.
Okay.
Now, Stuart, you are hosting the show tomorrow night. I'm going to point this out. That was always the plan. I haven't sucked it up that badly. They're like, get her out of here. You are the host tomorrow. What can people expect?
We got Dickie Nee. We got Dickie Nee.
Ooh.
Yeah. Can you believe it?
Are you actually going to have him doing the...
We got him. We don't know what we're going to be doing with him yet, but we got him.
Amazing.
Yeah, action.
Well, that is going to be happening at 10:30 tomorrow evening. Thank you, Paul Verhoeven. You're in hysterics for being with us this evening. I really appreciate you sticking around for the show.
That's right.
Now, tonight, to take us out, we have a very special guest. I've got some information about them just here. Junipers. These guys started as a music class project. Since then, they've gone on to win Revolver Ballroom's Battle of the Bands competition. They've played at iconic venues such as the Corova Lounge, the Tote. Their debut EP is available on Bandcamp and through their Facebook page. Oh God, we nearly got there. Please welcome Junipers. Take it away, guys.
Hey guys, the song's called Is It Real? It's from our EP.
I think I'm just going to walk out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tegan, for having us.